Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of something slightly different. Very well said. The exact explanation is that this is my own custom mod pack. It's not available on Twitch and it's just a combination of 110 mods that I found them interesting to play with and hopefully you will find them interesting to watch. Anyhow, this is world number 15 and the first 14 ones did not survive because I had to do a lot of config changes and I had to see which mods are conflicting with each other. So finally, after a little bit of playing, we're good to go and we can start recording. And of course, before I forget, there is a list of all the mods that I have used in the description. So why a costume mod pack? The reason for that is very simple, because most of the mods that I like to play with are very interesting early and mid game. Unfortunately, they were not available in all the mods tree when we started, and they will never be available in Feed the Beast Revelation. So this is why I decided to make a custom selection of these mods and make a custom mod pack. In my opinion, this is a balanced mod pack because I added enough exploration mods, magic mods and tech mods. It's not like Feed the Beast Revelation, which literally has no magic mods except Botania. Botania is fun enough, but you know, it's not enough. Anyhow, I also added some quality of life mods, including Solar Flux Reborn, which gives you the solar panels. They are very OP, but you need a lot of resources in order to craft them, so it's not that simple to get into the highest tier. And it's also, I'm hoping at least, that it will be less laggy if you generate RF in a single block than making a huge multi-block structure, which literally does less. Well, I think I did enough mumbling about why I made a costume mod pack and what are my plans. So we can go ahead and I will give you an update on what I have done off camera. As you can see, I have already been to the Nether, I have my smeltery, I have gathered some lava, and for some reason I forgot to install the mod which tells you how much inventory is inside a drum. But it's okay, we can right click and it will tell us. Anyhow, I also made a hobbit hole for myself, and welcome to my humble abode, number 3. We have our Enchanting Station because I was gaining a lot of levels, we have a coal generator from Rftools, we have our ME system with 4K storages, inscribers, crystal growth chambers, and as well as furnaces from Mystical Agriculture. I used to think that they are very expensive. They are actually very fuel efficient the higher tier you go. The second tier was not that bad. The third one is a problem because I ran out of essence. But that's something to do probably this episode. And the reason that I made the applied energistic systems early in the game and off camera was that because recently we played Feed the Beast Revelation and all the mods tree, and on first episodes of both of them I made the applied energistic system. So if you don't know how to make this, you can go and watch that. It's like 5 minutes of video, nothing much. As usual, our first order of business is to generate RF. Unfortunately, these solar panels, although they're very OP, they are very expensive. So I cannot make a high tier one. I'm planning to use a low tier one in order to operate my machines and get into Mekanism generators and use a gas burning generator for the early game. And I will do all the crafting and I will bring you back. So, 2 energy cells from thermal expansion with a capacity of 1 million RF and 2 solar panels, which either of them is making 256 RF per tick. And the reason for the energy cells is that at least we will have a buffer during nighttime when the generators are not generating any RF. And this should be good. I think it's enough to start our machines. I thought we should start with making a sag mill and an alloy smelter from Ender.io. Unfortunately, since the last update, there is a complication to it. You need to get to bedrock and set fire to it in order to get the grains of infinity. So I have to dig down to bedrock. Once you're at bedrock, use your flint and steel and set fire to everything. Right now we have to do this manually, but later on when we have enough technology, we will probably automate this. And when the fire is turned off, you should hear a pop-up noise and you should get some grains of infinity. I'm hearing some noises, but unfortunately I have to wait for the fire to go off because I don't have any fire protection. Yep, you can see them in the distance. So I will make a few more and I will bring you back. I already had a pulverizer and a redstone furnace from thermal expansion, and the reason that I made the sag mill, which does the same thing as a pulverizer from thermal expansion, is that a sag mill, when it's pulverizing stuff, it will give us additional bonus items. Early in the game I can use whatever it gives me because mining is not very easy. I go to the deep dark, but you know. Anyhow, the alloy smelter is to make some basic alloys from Enderio in order to make the conduits. Conduits are the best feature of Enderio. They work exactly the same way as the ducts from thermodynamics, but you know, they're much better and much more cool. The next thing that we're going to need is a lot of steel, and when you have Mekanism in the pack you're going to need a lot of steel, but luckily making steel is also very easy. All you're going to have to need is coal, iron and a metallurgic infuser. You need to infuse the iron with coal in order to get enriched iron, then you need to infuse it again with coal in order to get steel blend, and then you just have to smelt that steel blend into steel ingots. Each part of coal will give you 10 carbon, and you need 10 carbon in order to process 1 ingot of iron. So, like so. I made 2 of them because it will make life so much easier. The next thing that we're going to need in order to make a gas burning generator is an enriched alloy from Mekanism, and making that is also very easy, and let's get started. Alright guys, making the alloys and circuits from Mekanism looks very complicated, but it's actually not that much difficult. In order to make the enriched alloy, all you have to do is to infuse iron with redstone. In order to make the reinforced alloy, you need to infuse it again with diamond, and in order to make the atomic alloy, which is the highest tier, you need to infuse it with enriched obsidian. The circuits are the same. You only need to infuse the osmium with redstone, which makes the first tier, and then it's just a bunch of crafting. I will do all of that and I will bring you back. Okay, I also made an enrichment chamber from Mekanism which will allow me to increase the value of the infusing material by 8 times. So for instance, if I put diamonds inside, it will give me compressed diamonds, which has 8 times the value of 1 diamond, and I can infuse 8 items with that compressed diamond. For coal and redstone it's not very important, but for diamonds and the enriched obsidian it's going to make a huge difference. So if I put 8 of them inside the metallurgic infuser, it will give me 640 value for diamond, and I can infuse 64 enriched alloys. Otherwise I needed 64 diamonds, which is expensive and I don't have it. For this setup, which is useful early in the game, you're going to need a pump, an electrolytic separator, gas burning generators, universal cables, mechanical pipes and pressurized tubes. You're also going to need the speed upgrades, energy upgrades and muffling upgrades for the electrolytic separator and the pump. Also, gas burning generators are very loud like everything else in Mekanism, and you have to put this contraption far away from where you sleep. So you are also going to need a lot of cables in order to transfer the power, or you're going to need a quantum entangleporter. I'm going with the second option because I have the resources to make at least 2 or 3 quantum entangleporters, and it should not be a problem for me. If you don't have the resources, just use cables. We are also going to need a configurator, which is your wrench in Mekanism, and a charge pad in order to charge the configurator. The funny thing about the charge pad from Mekanism is that if you hold the device in your hand and go on the charge pad, it will charge that item, regardless if it's the wrench or any other devices. This time it's charging the pump. A source block of water and the pump goes on top. A mechanical pipe. Then the electrolytic separator. We don't need the oxygen, so dump it. We only need the hydrogen. And also pay attention which side has the hydrogen, because Mekanism devices are weird. Then some pressurized tubes in order to extract the hydrogen. And of course the last piece of the puzzle is the gas burning generators. The green part is for power and the rest of the sides is available for gases. And finally, connect everything using a universal cable with power. This is a very self-sufficient system because the gas burning generators will provide power to the pump and the electrolytic separator, and they will get hydrogen instead. So you don't need to do anything else. The more hydrogen which is available in the gas burning generators, the more power they will produce. Each gas burning generator will give you 160 RF per tick. Alright guys, I added another electrolytic separator because I wanted to add more gas burning generators, and now everything is full. There is no gas in the pipe because everything is full of hydrogen. Perfect, we're good to go. We can also transfer this power using a quantum entangler porter and avoid using wires, because I hate wires. It's going to be very noisy because now we're going to drain power and the gas burning generators will kick in, and this is horrible. This is why I told you should put it away from your base as far as possible. Anyhow, now I can get rid of this coal generator from Rftools and start using proper power, and it's a clean power, so it's good for the environment. The next thing that I want to do today is to do ore dabbling using Tinker.io. Tinker.io is a very neat system because it allows your smeltery to work much faster and much more efficient. The problem is I need ice and I don't have ice. And in order to get that, I need to get Silk Touch. And in order to get Silk Touch in Tinker's construct, we are going to need strings and emeralds. Aha! Will you do a trade? No strings. Coal. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, kind sir. You are an adorable villager. And we have 1 emerald. Thank you so much. So there is an extreme hills biome next door to us, and I'm hoping that we will be able to find some ice. Tinker.io without the upgrades is basically just a smeltery and it's not useful. This is why I made a precision sawmill from Mekanism, because it will give us sawdust and sawdust will give us paper. And why would you do the other recipe? It's just stupid. Okay. Anyhow, we will have a lot of paper. I have to craft a lot of upgrades as well as a lot of items from Ender.io in order to make the conduits. So I will do all of those and I will fast forward through the crafting and I will bring you back while setting up the system. Alright guys, after a bunch of crafting, we are good to go and we can start making the Tinker.io stuff. So, you don't need to destroy your smeltery, you just need to do some modifications. You are going to need a fuel input machine which accepts solid fuel from the same mod and increases the speed of your smeltery. So it will smelt much more faster. The recipe for the solid fuel is very cheap and you don't need to worry about it. And for some reason you also need to keep the lava tank, so don't destroy it. And I think we can put the rest here. Yeah, it should not be a problem. We are going to need the smart output, which will make ingots and whatever you cast from the smeltery to cool down much more faster. You're also going to need an ingot cast or any other cast that you want. And then we are going to need a fluid conduit or a fluid duct or something to extract the fluid. I'm using a fluid conduit because I can control it with redstone. And we just remove insert and we put it with active with a signal so that we can put a lever and extract the fluid. Cool. For a reason that I do not understand, the item conduit from Ender.io is not compatible with the smart output. So I'm using an ultimate logistical transporter from Mekanism and this should do the job. We just have to configure this one to output and this one to input. And we will put the chest and then we put it on push. Anyhow, any output will go into that chest and we should be fine. And then we put our lever, we flick the lever and we are getting ingots. Very cool. And if we put the upgrades, it will be much faster. I have to make a little bit of night slime in order to upgrade it further, but that's something that I will do off camera. Just as a demonstration, I wanted to show you how fast this thing is working. You can see that it almost smelts all the ores instantly. It helps if you have a bigger smeltery, but that's something that I will do in between episodes or off camera, so you don't need to worry about that. And this is how fast we are getting ingots. It's amazing. This is a temporary solution for early game, later we will do this properly. So I went to the last tier of upgrades and this is how fast it's working. I love this. One of the other mods that I have added to the mod pack is PeojectE, or Equivalent Exchange. It uses a system which is called EMC, and you have probably seen me hovering over items in JEI. Each item has a different value in EMC, and if you teach these transmutation tablets different types of recipes, it will be able to consume that EMC that you're giving it and give you the items without even crafting them. It might sound OP, and considering that I did not change the recipes to make it much more difficult to obtain, it might sound very OP, but the problem is providing this thing with EMC and I don't have enough EMC. I can just maybe copy torches or that kind of stuff. We needed this for another mod. And that other mod is called the Avaritia. It's actually a mod to end all mods because it gives you so many OP items that you don't need any other mods ever again, including the Draconic Evolution. The problem is getting into this mod is very expensive. For instance, you're going to need at least 2 stacks of each singularity, and an iron singularity here is going to need 25,000 blocks of iron. I can never ever mine or process that much iron, so we're going to need PeojectE for it. We are also going to need a source of EMC, which I think for us nether stars will be the best source. We can also try to do sextuple compressed cobblestone, or I don't know, emerald blocks, emerald world with using Rftools, I don't know. But this is why we needed PeojectE, because otherwise it would be impossible to make the singularities and make the Sword of the Cosmos or the OP armor that Avaritia mod offers us. I was not very happy with the rewards I was getting from all the mods tree, because you still have to mine millions of items and you don't use most of them. This way we will have a purpose of mining millions of items, and I think it will make the game more fun and more challenging. Anyhow, that's the reason. Well, Avaritia and PeojectE are far away. We still need the source of EMC, and by the time that we have thousands of nether stars, it will be a few episodes later. So, for now I have to do some mining and process some resources so that we can continue with our next project. And of course, our next project is to get into Thaumcraft. You need to find V crystals. You can find them easily while mining. Once you find them, you have to sleep. Obviously, I have slept, and when I woke up, I was given this written book. It tells you how to make Silas Mundus, and it's easy to make. So let's get crafting. You need a ball, redstone, and some flint. And you also need 3 different crystals. You cannot use the same crystal over and over again. And then you can easily craft Silas Mundus. You're going to need 3 of them for the start, but I'm going to craft a little bit more just in case. The first thing that you're going to need is a bookshelf. You spray a little bit of Silas Mundus on it and it will convert into a Thaumonomicon. The Thaumonomicon is your guidebook and quest book in this mod, and it will guide you through what you should do and how to progress. The next thing is an Arcane Workbench, and for that you need to spray Silas Mundus on a crafting table. You can also put your crystals inside and start crafting. The first thing that you're going to have to craft in your Arcane Workbench is a Thermometer. A Thermometer is something that will allow you to scan items in the world and gain points towards observation, which is necessary in order to progress through the mod. Make a few of them because you're going to need them a lot. The items that you are able to scan will be sparkly when you're holding the Thermometer. So for instance, I can scan the Arcane Workbench, I can scan the chest, I can scan the grass, but I cannot scan the Tinker Smeltery. Extra utilities is supported, so it gave us 1 point for observation. And now if we go to our Thaumonomicon, we can complete the task. So we made the Arcane Workbench and we did some observations. Perfect. After observing some of the stuff in the world, I gained an observation point towards alchemy, and now we can make a crucible. We spray Silas Mundus on a cauldron and it will convert into a crucible. Perfect. Our next task is to get into theory, and in order to do that we need a research table and scribing tools. So, 1 research table, scribing tools, and a lot of paper. You're going to need a lot of paper to do research, so try to have a good source for it. Making theories is very easy. Basically, you get different types of options, and depending on what option you choose, you will get advancements towards different principles in Thaumcraft. So for instance, we have now 15% towards alchemy, and if it reaches 100%, we will be able to have 1 theory in alchemy and we will be able to unlock stuff in alchemy. Right now we don't have it, so it's fine. But in any case, you have 2 types of research. One is observation, which you will do with your Thaumonomicon, and the other one is theory, which you do on your research table. So our job is to complete them both. Now that alchemy is unlocked, we can proceed and do the first task, which I believe is making night ore. Yes, it is making night ore, so let's make one. The Crucible requires a heat source in order to function. Right now I'm providing it with fire, but later on when we have the night ore, we can use the night ore. We're also going to need 1 bucket of water, and when you drop stuff into the Crucible, they will be broken down into their main essentials. So we need 3 different essentials, we're going to need 3 different items. Well, I messed up the recording, so this is take number 2, and this is why we have Flux in the Crucible. Anyhow, don't allow Flux to build up, it's a bad thing. So I brought torches and coal, and if we drop them inside, there will be enough essentia inside the Crucible, and if we drop a glowstone, we get a yellow night ore. You can also use quartz levers in order to take out the essentias in a form of a crystal. It's a good way to avoid Flux, and it will also give you a bunch of essentias, which is always nice. Now that we have the night ore, we can also replace the fire with night ore, because this is also a heat source and it's much more safe. Alright guys, it's also time to wrap up the episode before it gets super long. In between episodes I will try to work on the Thaumcraft researches so that by next episode we can at least make our first contraption. I will work on the base and I will try to progress as fast as possible. And we can, I guess, scan the skeleton. Anyhow, I want to thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next episode, bye bye and apparently good night.